Hey, chismosas.
Welcome to the Tell Me Chisme podcast with Maddie and Kim.
All right, guys. Hi, welcome back. So, me and Maddie just got back not too long ago from a little spring break trip that we took.
Yes, spring break, I think, really for you because everyone else is out of school.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
Yeah, we went to Colorado, and we had a really fun time over there.
So, happy spring break to everyone who celebrates. I hope everyone was safe and had lots of fun. I never got to go real quick before we get off topic or back on track. I actually never had like a fun like St. Padre Island like spring break or like a Miami Beach
Honestly,
spring break.
Too.
It seemed like it would have been fun, but okay. You want to get started on today's episode?
Also, real quick, RIP my handle. I noticed that the past episodes that I filmed, I've been doing a really bad job of keeping the mic up to my mouth. So Madi said we're taking away the handle.
Yeah, I told her, I was like, nope.
Can't do it
I was
no
like
more.
cutting you off with the handle. I was like, you are relying on that too much. And I was like, and people can barely hear you. So honestly, another thing too, if we need to improve on anything, let us know. Someone told us they liked the wide angle better, so we weren't as zoomed in on our face. I don't know what they were trying to say with that. But anyways,
shout out to you.
We did the zoom out, so maybe you can see a little bit more of us.
So this trip, I think, kind of inspired today's episode essentially, and that's us doing white people activities or just doing white people activities in general. It felt so okay. We're from a
very small city.
Where
big town, but small city.
There's not a whole lot to do here. And in Colorado, obviously, like a lot of like the attractions are normally like outside stuff, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And what we decided to do, we went up in the mountains, right? And originally we were thinking about skiing, but it was honestly just too expensive. And for the amount of us going, we're like, maybe not. And so we had set on was we went snowmobiling one of the days. And I don't know about you, Mari's traveled a lot more than I have in general. So she's experienced a lot more stuff than me. This is the first time I really have like something we had booked, like a new experience, you know, other than just traveling. Like I was really excited to do this thing. And I think for me, the reason we call it white people activities because this typically activities you see do that's like white people doing, you know, like usually they come more from like a little place of privilege, so maybe they're accustomed to doing it.
And I will say, I love doing white people activities.
She does.
I like skiing. I love skiing.
She's been skiing multiple times.
Good at it, but I love doing it. What else do I like doing that white people? I'm trying to get into golfing. I'm trying to infiltrate anything that white people do because I'm trying to be a little Mexican girl doing whatever that is. So I'm trying to be a little Mexican girl on the greens, you know, hitting some little holes, whatever golf terms they use. But I'm trying to do all and any white people activity. Honestly,
yeah. Like I want to try doing that too. I want to try normalizing like seeing other people than just white people doing these activities. Like what the heck, we should be able to get to do it
why
too.
do we? I know we're probably pushing it further, calling them white people activities, but this is just the kind of, you know, because that's generally who does it.
Yeah, but like think about it. When you think of skiing, the first person coming to your mind, let's be honest, is probably not like people that look like us doing it.
I will say though, I feel like Mexicans are getting more into golfing. I've seen ads on Instagram for like Mexican golf attire. Like full.
Oh, you have said that. Yeah.
Yeah, full on like Mexican like and not like merch type thing where they have like little like it's like golfing gear, golfing attire that you wear like on the golf courses, like but that are like by a Mexican designer and everything, and it's got like tiny little like emblems of like little nods to things. Like it's really cool stuff. And I'm like, dang, I was like, if I had a man like that was into golfing, I'd totally be buying him that stuff. And not just that too. I think Mexicans are kind of like getting the I get to drive a golf cart
and drink in the daytime.
During the daytime,
that's like, the only part that would honestly interest me because I don't know shit about golf.
And let's be honest, like white people love being away from their wives, so they're like all day with my buddies driving golf carts.
A girls trip golfing?
Yeah, so
that'd
I'm
be fun.
Mexican men are already out and about doing God knows what. Like
might as well just give it a try.
Like, con las gallinas, like I'm trying to think.
Our dad.
En las carreras, like
that's my
what
tío
older generations are like. They're at the carreras. They're con los gallos. What else are they doing? Doing some sort of like mechanica. Like
there's out with boys.
These Mexican men out on the golf courses.
Yeah.
Switch it up for a bit.
All right, so back on track. So we decided to go snowmobiling on this trip, and let me tell you, be prepared for this story because it's just like a bunch of turns. First of all, let's talk about our expectations, like going in. You had never snowmobiled, right? That was your first time too?
First time, yeah.
Okay, going into it, I don't even remember how much it is we paid, but let's just say
when we got a deal.
when you get a deal, just know it might be too good to be true.
And not just that, like there's always a catch to things.
Yeah. The catch for this one is, I don't know how your friend Jasmine booked it, but okay, for everybody else in the story, I'll probably just refer to them as
Well, the thing is too, and not this to say that this was just on Jasmine, because obviously
no, it wasn't her fault. I'm not saying that.
No, we're just saying just because she's the one that booked it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the only reason. But you go ahead.
Okay, so basically, somehow she found this guy saying like, okay, you can snowmobile and you can rent these snowmobiles. There's 3, which worked out perfectly because there was how many? 5 of us on the trip. Yeah, 5 of us. Mm-hmm. And each of you can get on one, and like we can partner, whatever. And I was like, okay, me and Mari will probably start off as partners, so it'll work out.
Yeah, because I think with the rental, you would just put how many people there are, how many snowmobiles you want, and like the total, whatever. I think the price was dependent if you were like doubling up or single or whatever, right? And like one person ended up not coming on the trip.
Oh yeah.
So that person just ended up paying that snowmobile price or whatever. But you can go ahead and continue.
Okay, so we booked it, but the thing is, I expected it to be you get there and this guy, like whoever it is that's running it out to you, they're taking you up to the mountains, and from there they're giving you the snowmobiles, and you have a set amount of time, go do this path, you come back, and you have fun. That's it. Far from the truth. What ended up happening, you can jump in at any point whenever you want. What actually happened is we got to this place, and the guy is like, oh, like, how many is there of you guys? 5. Okay, we all signed our names, agreeing. We put our insurance down, whatever. We had all our gear ready, and then he starts being like, okay, helmets, goggles, and we're like, okay, maybe we should. We had bought these glasses. We went to like this store, and we just really
pulga, to be specific.
Pulga. And we love these glasses, and we bought them thinking like, okay, it's gonna be enough. But then we got there and the sun was out, like, okay, we definitely are gonna need goggles. So we just got
not just that, how
safe.
heavy duty the helmets were. I feel like those glasses alone would have been too flimsy with the helmet over it. That those were good for the vibe. And I'm not gonna lie, the closer we got to the snowmobile, we're like, oh, this is an actual like heavy equipment, like heavy.
Yeah. Not only that, it'll be foreshadowed later. Good thing we got the helmets.
Yeah. So we were like, oh my gosh, like once I was seeing the snowmobile, I was like, maybe we should get the helmets. And then after that, I was like, you know what? Added the goggles on top of that. Yeah. Like, let's just.
He just protection. Let us. He gave us to that for like we didn't pay for that because we were gonna return it, so it's fine.
Yeah.
So whatever. We get our gear. We walk out, and the guy goes, "Okay, so who's gonna be driving?" And so Jasmine's boyfriend, he decided to drive. I'm not gonna say the rest of their names for that. Yeah. Whatever. And so we're like, okay, he's gonna drive. The guy says, okay, here's the keys. Today you're going to be driving this like Expedition or Explorer. What does he say?
Ford Explorer.
A Ford Explorer. He's like, okay, you're going to be driving this. And essentially on the back of this Explorer, there's like a trailer.
There's a trailer with the 3 snowmobiles and the ramps.
If I stop the picture, I'll pull it up. I have the picture. Okay.
So, and the snowmobiles with like the little ramp thing holding it for preventing it from sliding off the ramp. But not just that. Before we make our way out to where this Ford Explorer was that pulls these snowmobiles, he pulls out some map that has all these Sharpie like highlight stuff on it, and he's like, okay, so you're gonna go I-70 this way, you're gonna take this exit. Mind you, thank God there were guys on the trip, because, and honestly, like, I'm surprised we got there eventually, because with the directions, like, I would have got getting on the highway or whatever, but then like we missed the exit. And I thought he was going to give us the map because he was like pointing around so much that I was like, surely we get to take this map with us.
Yeah.
But no, and none of us thought to ask for it either.
Someone on the trip took a picture, but even then, it's not the same as like having it physically with you. Yes. We definitely would have needed a map. One thing you forgot to mention, before we even get to like leave to get up to the mountains, when he has the keys and we're outside, out of nowhere, he puts out his phone and starts recording like this, kind of as a way to have like a
liability.
Like a liability to contract. And he starts down the line, and I'm like this, and I see him pull up the camera, and I fix my posture. He goes, name. And we go down the line, and we're saying all of our names, and he's recording our faces.
He's like, okay, so he's like, so it's March 23rd, 11:45 a.m. He's like, I'm here with.
Literally.
And he's like, passing the phone to like, or like, moving the phone over to everyone's faces for us to be like, Mariella, Kim. Like,
yeah,
so
dude.
like awkward because we weren't expecting. We're like, what do you mean? You already made us sign our life away? Like, you
basically,
need the video evidence too.
But he did also like record, which is safe on his part and for us too. But he recorded like the snowmobiles to make sure that if there's any damage later, he can prove it to be like, okay, well, this is how they left and this is how they came back.
Really fast. I'm just not realizing it.
I'm always talking fast, but thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so whatever. Mari kind of talked about like how he had given us steps that you're gonna take this exit, and when you get to blah blah blah, you'll see this guy. Whatever. So Mari, go ahead.
Let me add on to this. The whole time he's telling us like the couple routes that we have options. He's like, if you go through this one, he's like, this is more like experience, avalanche risk, whatever. He's like, but he's like, if you stay on this one, and in my head, I'm like, okay, the fact that he's just like, these are just numbered, and I'm like, one, you didn't even give us the map. So I'm like, had they not taken a picture of the map, what we're so just supposed to know what numbers to know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Regardless, we think we stayed on the right one, because I mean, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, we'll get to it. Also, we had booked it for what, 4 hours?
Yes, I think
4 hours. So the drive to get just to the location we need to get to was what, like a 20-minute
20-ish
drive?
minute turned into like a 30-ish, right?
I think more.
Okay, whatever.
So
Let's
yeah,
make it
what
40-ish.
should have been maybe a 20-minute drive to get up to the mountains where we needed to park and do whatever we got to do turned into probably like 40, because again, the exit that we needed to get to like was not marked, or it said like closed or something, so we passed it. And so once we realized we had passed it, we were like, shit, like we can't turn back.
Like, you're on a highway that takes you to and from the mountain. There's not really just like I'm gonna turn into this little town that has a gas station that, like, it's
you had to drive another 10-15 minutes to be able to turn back. So whatever, we turn back, we get to this where we think we're supposed to get to, we take the exit. The guy who rented us a snowmobiles had told us, okay, when you get to this point, there's going to be a guy there, and you guys each will take a ticket, and you will pay $10 each for the ticket. Like, basically, like, telling you, like, you all can get in.
Yeah, he said there was supposed to be a park ranger waiting for us, or just waiting there. There was no park ranger. We didn't know about the whole ticket situation, because when we went to go down, I think it just said car ticket or something.
Yeah.
So we're like, did somebody like miscommunicate? Was it supposed to be one ticket per car, or was it one per person?
So only one of us paid.
Yeah, so we got one ticket for the whole car. Went over there, and we saw all these cars with snowmobiles.
Yeah.
But we're like, okay, but he said the park ranger was going to point us this way.
Exactly.
So we went off his loose directions. We parked somewhere else. Where we parked, there were no snowmobiles, but we're like, whatever. And we had a big Ford Explorer with the trailer. So we're like, okay, anyways, we're like, we'll make it work. They did a good job. They parked the car, the car. They parked the car. Then comes the real trouble, getting the snowmobiles down.
Guys, mind you, this is our first time ever snowmobiling, and very loosely they tell you, okay, this handle is brake, this is go, this is how you turn it on, turn it off, emergency. That is it. That you never get to practice how to steer. Like, we learned everything in that very moment. And Mari, luckily, her friend Jasmine, she had volunteered to do it, right? Or who volunteered?
I think she just took
decided
initiative.
to.
Yeah.
Okay, she took initiative.
Yeah.
Essentially, what you had to do is you had this ramp that you had to connect to the thing, which doesn't really connect. It just kind of sits on there. Nothing's connecting it.
Yeah, it basically just locks it into the ramp. That way the snowmobile doesn't move.
Yeah.
So you have to take those off, and then like, obviously, like, there's the ramp that attaches to the trailer that connects to the ground. That way, like, once you start reversing it back down the trailer, you go down the ramp, and then you're basically like on the ground level. So we started, they started reversing. And the thing is too that you don't know until once you start like driving the snowmobile is that once you reverse, like, and you can't turn the steering wheel unless you've got some gas running on it. So you have to have reverse and then quickly turn it in the direction you want.
And not only that, the sensitivity, getting a feel for that, like for the first time and going backwards, like was so scary.
Especially because you don't know how much gas to like.
Yeah.
Whatever, so then like you're kind of guesstimating, and thank God this didn't happen, but like the person that was reversing, if they would have like slightly like or over
we already said
estimated the thing, like she could have gone flying off. Like, thank God Jasmine didn't, but she could have.
Yeah.
That was
the first one came off fine. The second one,
the second one that was bad.
The second one, she was already halfway down. Jasmine, sorry if you see this, you probably won't. You did a good job, regardless. It was your first time.
Yeah.
Happy you took initiative. The second one, I don't know what happened. I feel like I turned away for 1 second. Next thing you know, you hear like, Jasmine! And I think it was you who said it. She's like halfway down. Something happens. I think she turned too quickly and hit the gas.
Well, that's the thing. It's the fact that you cannot steer. To turn, and you have to push the gas to be able to turn.
Dude.
So Jasmine, like, there was nothing she could have done other than the guys volunteering to be like, let me just turn the whole snowmobile.
Let me pull it up for you.
Let me pull it up and reposition it, it's heavy.
Imagine like picking up like a motorcycle and just being, okay, let me turn it the way you need to go, but like picking it up with the person on it.
Well, I just think, I think motorcycles probably would have been a little lighter. Those things are
anyways,
long.
Jasmine's halfway off backing up and it starts falling, and somehow she didn't fall all the way off, I think.
I think she hopped off of
She
it.
hopped off,
Yeah,
but the snowmobile stayed on top, and we're just like, fuck. Like, we damaged, but luckily nothing happened. So whatever.
Nothing happened.
Third one came off easy, whatever. So the other guy that's on the trip, we're not going to name him. Let's call him, what do you want to call him?
We don't have to. Just one of the guys on the
Okay,
trip.
one of the guys on the trip. He's the first one to lead out. Like, he's the one who reverses them onto, like, the trail that we have to take. So he starts, he's leading, and he tells us, guys, be careful. Me and Mario are right behind us, so we hear
I'm not
him.
gonna lie though. He did tell us like an inch later, and I would have done what he was trying to get me to avoid. He was basically saying like, "Hey, it's a tight turn. Like, start turning early." But once again, you can't start turning until you hit the gas. So for example, if the snowmobile is, oh gosh, okay,
You're about to do a horrible explanation.
yeah. So the snowmobile is like my hand right here. The turn is right here. So you're trying to turn that way you don't go past it and you go over the little hill, like a little.
It's like a cliff, if anything.
A mini cliff. Okay, it was a little cliff, but yes. So the little like cliff edge was right here. He was telling us like, hey, it's a tight turn, start turning. But once again, it won't turn unless you push the gas. So we hit the amount that it took us to hit the gas, you're at that edge. So luckily, like at that point, once I hit the gas, I was able to turn, and I'm like riding the line.
Yeah,
we were riding the cliff, and we made it down.
So
safely.
nothing happened to us, but again, I don't know if the other two people that were on the trip, the couple that were with us, I don't know if they had heard because they were behind us. So when that first guy had warned us, we kind of knew to watch out for it.
Yeah. So basically, she started hanging off. They had to go. They had to jump off the.
Yeah, they hit it too much. They're like halfway off, and then we're like,
halfway in, halfway out.
Yeah, literally halfway in, halfway out, and we're like, oh my god. I'm like, Mari, we need to go help them, guys. Getting off of these snowmobiles and trying to run in the snow, dude. You feel so slow. It's like running in a dream, literally.
Yeah.
So luckily, that first guy helped them like get it back on, and we were chill, whatever. So that was a little rough, but this is already almost an hour and a half into our 4-hour window that we have booked. We just got them off. We're barely going to get on the trail. Whatever. We get on the trail. The parts where we were just driving and chilling was actually pretty fun. Like, we drove for a solid, like, at first, what was the first trail? How long do you think we were on it for?
Oh, gosh. I have a terrible perception of time. No idea.
Let's say it's like 45 minutes.
No, not even. Probably like 35-ish.
Okay, let's say it's 35.
Yeah.
We're driving chill. Again, on the actual, like, trail when you're driving, I didn't see any. There's like no arrows, no signs telling you go this way, This is trail A, B, C.
At one point, I did see a number, so I stopped and I was like, hey guys, was this a number that we needed to avoid? But everyone was like, no, I don't think so.
The first trail was really chill. It was the easier, I think, of the two that we took. I think it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was chill. And on this first trail, it's the one that leads up to like a little, kind of like an overlook.
Kind of. It's more like a scenery, like picturesque.
Which we
thing.
might include some pictures or videos on the screen right now. But so yeah, before we're going to get to this like little overlook thing, there's like a really steep.
It's just like a steep uphill you can't see over. And the thing is, there was a sign that said no snowmobiles, but
to the right of it.
It was to the right, not just that. It was like somebody had hit it, so it was kind of like slanted facing down.
But there's also clearly like marks that like people were going up, and so we're like, okay, so I guess this is the way we go. Like, we weren't sure. And so
well, not just that, we were kind of like, you kind of follow your own, like there was some turns that we could have taken earlier, but we kind of decided not to because we were just like, whatever, going with the flow, because like I said, nothing was really marked. So the first guy, he starts going up this. It was a very steep hill.
Very steep.
Could I have said, will it make it? But like I said, there were marks going up there, so we're like, okay, sure, that we just
someone
push
made
the
it.
gas all the way, right? Sure. He starts going up. And I'm not gonna lie, you probably remember what happens next a little more than maybe I did.
I do.
But basically, I started also leading the way until I realized we couldn't, and I stopped.
Yeah, this is when I'm gonna interrupt you. So what this guy had said happened is that he started going up. He was going up fine, but the problem is he freaked out, so he let go of the gas. And obviously, you're on a steep hill, so when he stopped, the gas stopped. The snowmobile kind of like sunk into the snow, and it started going backwards. And so he fell off of it. So imagine, this is the hill. This is the snowmobile. Because he stopped, instead of it keep going, it went like this. And he fell off of it. And we're like, oh my God. But that wasn't even the worst part.
Well, not just that. Had it started rolling, it would have rolled onto him probably because he was still somewhat in its way.
Exactly, but that's the thing.
It would have rolled down the whole way and hit us. It would have hit us had we not moved.
Yeah. So the first flip is what caused him to fall. But then I look up and I see it starts to roll again like one more time. And I'm not sure how many more times it's going to roll. But for that first time, he claims he didn't hear me. I'm sure he just felt it in the moment because we were still a ways away. Like, how far away would you say? Like, more than 20 feet away from him?
Yeah.
Something like that. I yell, watch out, because I literally see it coming for his head. He literally dove away again. He claims he didn't hear me. He probably just felt it. So it flipped another time. At this point, they're like still very at the top of the mountain, essentially.
Top of the hill, yeah.
Yeah, and I told Mari, okay, we need to go help him, but we're basically already at the bottom. Like, we had reversed.
And because because our like snowmobile was slightly at an angle, whenever we like flipped, like we didn't flip. Whenever we jumped off, once again the snowmobile had that weight shift that it flipped to its side. It fell to its side. So
we fell off.
So we fell just because at the same time that we're jumping off, the snowmobile does a half roll. So we're like, great. So now, like, and then my friend Jasmine helps us. So it's all three of us having to like help flip it back, and then also like get back on it just so we can get out of the way in case the other snowmobile starts rolling.
So Jasmine, she told us that when she saw the first guy start leaning up, she's like, I'm not going up there. But she's so far away that, like, of course, she couldn't have warned him. He was already up there. What could she have done, you know? And so her boyfriend, he's the one that decides to get off, and he's the one who starts walking up there. That was... Okay, once we had already flipped, it's me, Mari, and her friend Jasmine. All three of us have to flip over this one snowmobile. It was so ridiculously difficult, especially with the snow being so
because your feet are
deep.
sinking in.
Yeah, it was so hard, but it was pretty heavy though.
Had we been on regular floor and stuff, like ground level, it would have been fine. But because it's the snow, your feet are you're sinking in and stuff. Like, it's hard to get your foot grounded.
So once we flip it over, I'm like, okay, let's start making a ways up, because we're looking at the guys up there struggling and they still haven't managed to flip it over. So I'm like, okay, Mari, we gotta go up. And Mari fixes the snowmobile so we're not in anybody else's way, and we turn it off just to be safe. Me and Mari make it maybe halfway up. It is so tiring to literally already walk up this steep ass hill and in this deep snow. By the time we're like halfway up, somehow, I mean, they're somewhat bigger guys and they're clearly strong. They were able to flip it over on their own and turn back over and come back down. So whatever. Everyone ended up being safe. No one got seriously injured at all. No one got hurt. The snow basically breaks your fall because of how deep it is. Like, we didn't feel anything when we fell, obviously.
Yeah, we didn't even fall that hard. Like, we're wearing snow pants that are padded. It's fine.
Yeah, we're good. So whatever. He fixes it, and then we finally get up to the overlook. We're chilling. We make a funny TikTok. Who knows? I might include it. It was funny. If not, go look at my TikTok. So we finally get to the overlook, and once we get up there and we're parked and we're chilling having pictures, these people that had already been there when our little accident happened, they didn't come up to me. Who was it that they went up to?
I think they just said it towards the general direction of us.
They go, thanks. What did they say? Thanks for the show?
Thanks for the show, yeah.
We're just like, I don't even know if we said anything back. We just like giggled.
Yeah.
But I was like, rude. But luckily they didn't say it like in a mean demeanor. They definitely like chuckled about it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because
like,
they knew we were fine.
And I'm like, okay, well, like, thanks for offering to help. Like,
what could they have done though, honestly?
I mean, they were kind of up there a minute.
Yeah.
I will say though, by the time they would have got, like, they would have ran back.
We've
like,
figured it out.
Them, like, they would have, yeah.
The worst part is, after we had come back down and we're already at the overlook, we literally right after us, we saw somebody else go up so easily. Like, these people were clearly experienced.
And they were even standing on top of the snowmobile.
Yeah, no, like, that was not for us.
Those are the people taking the expert.
Yeah, we did not do that. Trails. So, yeah, we were at the overlook for a little bit. It felt so good up there. And according to Jasmine, she said we're only, a mile away from the sun?
Yeah, that was a joke.
Oh, I thought she was being so serious.
No, that was a joke.
I was like, no, we're not.
That was a joke that she said that every time.
Girl, she said that so serious that I was like, damn, like, it's right there.
Yeah,
I hate her so bad.
Yep, she made a joke about that. And you must have not heard her because she's like.
I didn't.
Yeah, because she's like, I just can't. She's like, we just tell that to everyone on the ski trips or whatever.
I've never heard of that.
That's so funny.
Well.
Because I think I did tell it on the way there.
Not me believing it till now.
Fun facts.
Fun facts, guys. Not the fact checker here.
Oh, my God.
Okay, so yeah. Once we leave the overlook, okay, we're like, okay, gotta get back down. Let's go on to the second trail. At this point, I offered to drive now. But because our friend, the first guy, had fell off, I was like, Mari, are you okay to like be on your own? I was like, I want to drive now. I was like, but maybe I'll have him hop on the back because he had kind of been flustered. That was technically a second time falling, remember? He had already fallen once before.
I think.
That was his second time falling.
Maybe.
Yeah, so he took 2 falls on the little snowmobiling trip. So he's like, yeah, that's fine. So I drive the rest of the time, which we drive for what, maybe another 30 minutes-ish? We didn't drive that long.
Something like that.
Yeah, so we take the second trail.
And I'm not gonna lie, driving by myself with Kim not behind me was
you could tell
low-key a struggle because I'm not gonna lie, that extra weight of you behind me really helped.
But it was the steering, not the way.
Yeah, you just the extra little weight behind me
helped okay.
Because like my legs were like swinging every time I was driving.
I wish I could have taken a video behind so y'all could see the POV of Mari. She's like driving and you just see her legs doing this.
I was like literally having a crate. I was like these abductor workouts that I'm doing.
Oh yeah,
like
at
the
workout.
gym. I was like, I'm like holding my thighs so it like straddles the freaking snowmobile.
Also, you're getting an arm workout. Turning those handles in snow is not easy, and especially when you're trying to go fast, like as fast as you can go on a snowmobile. It was a little bit of a workout. So what on the second trail when we finally got to go, I think this one was funner in the sense because there was a lot more bumps, so you felt a lot of it more, but also the turns were a lot more like watch out. And like the guy did tell us whenever you were gonna turn, like obviously whichever way you're turning, lean the other way so you don't fall off. Which because Maddie was on her own, the second trail because we were behind her, obviously she was on her own, so I wanted her to be in the middle. I was
like, what does my little weight do? Like
yeah, I had to keep like braking because I was like I don't want to run into her because she had to keep slowing down because obviously she's by herself. It's a lot harder. So the couple led this time. Maddie was in the middle, and we were in the back.
Too. Like if there was an area where I'm like. We don't know like exactly the path we're taking. I'm like, if the person in front of me suddenly starts braking, I was like, I want enough space.
Yeah, she wasn't even a ton of space. Yeah. I was definitely closer to her, but I was doing okay.
Yeah, I was like, and I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to like tell you that too, like, hey, like just be mindful, just because I kept turning. No, I know, but I'm saying you were behind me. I had no way of looking.
Yeah, and that's why when she kept looking behind when she was by herself, and I kept telling her like this, like telling her like go, like because I didn't want her turning around while she's driving by herself when she fell.
Yeah, but the only reason too why I kept looking back is like because. We have the helmets and it kind of blocks the noise plus the snowmobile. I'm like, if you guys roll over something,
you wouldn't have heard unless we yelled.
So I'm like, I just kept turning, not necessarily check just to see. Okay, you guys are still there.
Yeah, I got a lot of content that time that we were waiting to go up though.
Oh, you did?
I took a ton of pictures, but yeah, it was so much fun. The actual drive back, we were all just like, I'm not gonna lie, I think we were all
tired and hungry.
That took a lot of energy.
Made like the thought was that we were gonna take snacks. That day, like day of, we completely forgot about the snacks.
No one took water. Like we were gonna take a speaker, that didn't happen. Like it probably worked out better that we didn't take all that stuff. But yeah, it was really fun. I just wish we would have had more time and we would have known. But whatever. So next time, if you're ever thinking about going snowmobiling, just pay the extra money for someone to go drop you off where you gotta go.
Yes, drop you off and load and unload the snowmobiles. That will help take off the hassle of having to do all that.
But I don't regret doing that. That was so much fun. Like I'm happy that that's like one experience like for the books. Like I look forward to doing more things that are like typically like white people activities.
But yeah, I'm trying to think. I think that's like I said, I love doing white people activities. If it's fun, if it's somewhat safe. I'm also not gonna like you said go and do some that's a white people kind of thing.
Exactly.
To do. You know, I wouldn't go down that way.
I want you guys to share what other white people activities you have done. And do you recommend them or not? Because like I really do want to look forward to doing more stuff because I don't know what's out there. I really don't know.
Yeah, if you're into golfing, let me know. I feel like all the girlies, I'm telling you, I'm trying to get into golfing.
Okay, that's basically all we had to talk about this week. So if there's anything we missed, tell us the chisme. Bye.